na Kenyatta wanauliza kama Kenya kuko sawa, nikawajibu Kenya tuko na disaster. Watoto wetu wanazidi kuzikana, na Tomboya ameshika tama, alituacha kama angali kijana. Je, angekuwa mambo yangekuwa sawa? Ndivyo walivyopanga Maulana. Deni mulizoacha bado tunalipa, na tumekopa zingine China, tukajenga reli pia barabara, zilizobaki watu wakasanya. So tujiangalie, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Sikio la kufa halisikii dawa, tuko kwa Twitter tunajibizana. Tujiangalie bade, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Tusipoziba ufa tutajenga kuta, tusake zetu tungali vijana.
Waumini kwa matrina, pasi kwa bima, kushoto fungu la 10 sadaka kulia. Ndio maana mbele ya kanisa mheshimiwa anakula sakramenti kabla ya raia. Siku za mwisho zimeshawadia, na revelation inatuambia hii generation inachoma picha, ni generation yetu. So tujiangalie, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Sikio la kufa halisikii dawa, tuko kwa Twitter tunajibizana. Tujiangalie, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Tusipoziba ufa tutajenga kuta, tusake zetu tungali vijana.
Mishuki alisema tufungeni mikanda, ona leo twavuna tulichopanda. Kura zetu zilitugawanya, makabila na pesa pia tulimanga. So when you make your bed, usingizi gani tumelala? Tutajua tujui, Vision 2030 tabaki ni story. Tujiangalie, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Sikio la kufa halisikii dawa, tuko kwa Twitter tunajibizana. Tujiangalie, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Tusipoziba ufa tutajenga kuta, tusake zetu tungali vijana.
Dosi aliniambianga freedom never comes for free. We vote tribe ama real cash, ask Boni. Tuna Roma lia mwezi tajesu plus dogi. Wal mzima Twitter keotindo fast body. Ban pictures in Africa, black coffee and none. I'm richer than my neighbor but we're both in a slum. If the rich always win, why should the popular run? Unless democracy ni what you say my only for fun. Na hii weekend tuko church tunauza sura kabisa. Post ya haga wenda poa sana na caption ya scripture. Kayondo gospel pitisha bagi ya sadaka kwa club, yeah. Traffic madrag ubaindai, traffic mandai zina drag. But maya mwizi make stories za shamba grab. Kono inahonga imevaa bracelet ya colors za flag, yeah.
Alright, tujiangalie indeed. A very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us for that is Wednesday edition of the Tackle. Today is 13 October 2020. 13 October 2020. 13 October 2020. It's a pleasure to have you. Naona majamaa maasha kuamka tayari. Titus Chumba amekuwa member nambari 1 anasema tuned in. Asante sana. Member number 2 Muita Mwangi, number 3 Washira Ireri anasema tuned. Number 4 Chris Bosire, number 5 Ole Sophia Chirchir Vincent, number 6 Jimolela, number 7 Bel Kiprop, number 8 Manu Kamar, number 9 Kenneth Dodi, number 10 Benjamin Lagat, 11 Titus Komora, 12 Brian Shell anasema niko Kitty Ambele. Good morning. Simon Bet anasema morning. Evans Koge anasema ndani. Mitch anasema good morning. Good morning to you. Michigan Parodeng anasema good morning. Good morning. Betty and K anasema good morning times in from Thika, Kiambu County. Asante sana Betty and K. Baadaye jana ulikuwa umesema kwamba unataka kupeana surgery ya bure ya fistula. We'll done a post letter today. All right. These are Betty and K. Good morning to you. Arab Sungu Mugura anasema good morning tuned in. Thank you. Telford Aduda anasema good morning. Nohuru Senior anasema morning ndani kabisa. Nixon Kibuza good morning. Paris Cheroti anasema good morning from Tackle. Nixon Kiloga anasema tuned in from Nanyuki. Baba Yan Kerebei anasema morning. Good morning Gerald and Lucia Ayela. Masina Kesa anasema tuned in from West Pokora Sante. Matthew Kibera anasema tuned in from Elbagon. Very informative topics. Keep it up bro. Asante sana. William Mwangi anasema good morning class tuned in from Embu County. Thank you so much. Naona Dione Junior Queenet anasema good morning from Queenet Eldoret. Nimesongea home of champions salimia the tackle team. Asante sana bana. Dione Junior Queenet. Sandra Bellian anasema good morning tacklers. Good morning to you Asha 001. Eric Wanyo anasema good morning team. I'm watching live from Nairobi Westlands. Niko ndani. Salamu ziende Winches and Gloria. Eric Wanyonyi mnasalimiwa Winches and Gloria mnasalimiwa na Eric Wanyonyi all the way from Westlands. Nairobi Westlands anasema yuko ndani kabisa. Onyingo Kefa Wesley sema Nyamakoroto Nyamira County tuned in. Asante sana Kipchumba tuned in from Moiben au Patron 001 Gerald Kibira. Asante sana. Jesse anasema the only show that has made sense. BITOK. Asante sana Dickson Kimuta anasema following Kibiri Reds watu wa Parklands anasema good morning to GK Clef Kanye anasema watu waamke amsheni watu. GK amsha watu. Nicole Jebichi anasema tuko pamoja asante sana. Kibero Badia Honorable anasema tuko area asante. GK Clef Kanye anasema niamshe Amaru Nostram Manase. Tafadhali amsha watu. Ya unaona vile G Clef Kanye ameamsha watu. Tafadhali kila mtu amsha watu. Kingia pale please like and share. When you like I get to know that you're watching us and you only share you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. Vincent Makori anasema tuned in. Asante. Abdub Signal anasema tuned in from Isholo. Dennis Lagadron anasema tuned in. Timothy Kibrano Koech anasema tuned. And Kibet anasema good morning Gerald, congratulations, you are doing a commendable job. God bless. Thank you Philemon Kosgei anasema morning. William Aruga anasema Leta Gladys Wanga. Ni jirani women rapapa atatuambia yuko wapi na atakuja lini. Isaac Ekino anasema good morning, always a pleasure to be tuned. Loaded look sana. G Clef anasema Mombasa Road iko locked. Mombasa iko locked. Asante Emmanuel anasema watching live from Nairobi. Good morning. Charles Mbote anasema morning from Juja Kiambu. Gavin Momanyi anasema good morning to you bro. Good morning to you sir. Patrick Muyandi anasema good morning from Kanyama Ranch Machakos, where you can get your smart hydroponics gardens for your kitchen, balcony gardens, organic honey, granola for your early breakfast and good nyama. By the way, to me and to be inbox I'll make an order. Amfrey Mulindi mdosi mwenyewe anasema good morning to you Amfrey Mulindi, thank you so much. Jeff Warren anasema good morning. Ashak the tackle. Sandra Belia naona ameamsha Masi Kanao, Honorable Joyce Korir Bomet, Ashaz Rono, Whitney Cheruta na David B. Victor Chirio anasema good morning following from KCB Towers hapa ile. Asante sana. Mark Marshall anasema tuned in bro. Asante sana, thank you so much Mark Marshall. Gilbert Kiti anasema tuned in from Mtwapa Mombasa. Jeremiah Bosira anasema good morning. Jeremiah Bosira tuned in from Nyarima Nyamira County Assembly. Gilio Fastena Aramakao anasema good morning live and tuned in from Kipchabo on Nandi County. Meli Same Kipkemboy anasema good morning Gerald, tuned in from Nairobi South Sea. Patrick Muyandi anaona ameamsha mheshimiwa William Kabogo Kitau Wangui K watene. Honorable Martin Kimemia, Honorable Florence Kajuju na Wilfred Miyandi. Asante sana. Mkiamushana kama Patrick K Muyandi, hii show itaenda mbali sana. Lagard Victor Kugu anasema good morning, tuned in from Awendo Police Station. Hey, Awendo Police. Asante sana Lagard Victor. Koech Kipkemboy Baba Fidel anasema pamoja live from Nakuru. Good morning Gerald, good morning to you. Alphason Kibloga anasema good morning my friend. Kipkorir Kibrono anasema good morning Gerald. Kasi safi. Sante Belena mamsha Alberto Nyakundi amenya. Bwana Pedla Zarato Ketrut Spears. Governor Nick Cheria anasema tuned in from Britain. Na ameamsha Wangoi Ngirishi. Wangoi Ngirishi. Tata Siri anasema morning team jam nayo. Hey, ni kama wanafunzi ndio wanaletanga traffic jam Nairobi by the way. Tangu wafunguliwe shule, traffic jam has been crazy. Now I can only imagine what will happen when they open the other classes next week. Abdul Signa anasema leta Senator wangu Honorable Fatuma Dulo 011. Nitakuja kurudi hapo kuwapigia shout out. Meanwhile shout out meanwhile acha nikimbie kwa Lucia pale aongeleshe Mungu alafu turudi. Alright, Lucia. Gerald amekataa nini? Gerald amekataa kusoma salamu zangu asubuhi ya leo. Acha maneno bwana, nataka kuleta siasa mapema. Umekataa kuambia Wakenya waheshimiwa, nimewaita waheshimiwa. Ulisema watu wasiitwe waheshimiwa, ndio unataka kuitana waheshimiwa. Si Wakenya ndio waheshimiwa. You know that the employers. Okay.
Hao ndio honorable Kenyans.
Na sio jana kwani salamu yako imeenda wapi lolo? Si I can see them.
Sindo money has been
Sio
poured.
ni bwana. Kuna mtu
poured.
amekufinya mahali.
I think I need to talk to Kibicho and Mushere.
Kuna mtu amekufanyia affirmative action.
Bacha tuombe Gerald. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we thank you for the gift of life this morning. We bless your name, Jehovah Lord. We ask you for wisdom, Abba Father, that everything we speak might be inspired from you, Jehovah Lord, and that it may be of benefit to us and to our viewers. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Asante sana. Thank you so much, Lucia, for that. Sijui leo salamu zako zinaenda. I can see them. Surprisingly. Sijui ni nani amekunyonga wapi, lakini
nimekuambia naenda kuona Kibicho.
Oi, pole. Pole sana. Fatuma Dulo, acha mtatoto look for Fatuma Dulo. Kuna mtu anaitisha hapa anasema nataka seneta wake aletwe. Alright. So wacha tatafuta Fatuma Dulo. Anasema wanataka Fatuma Dulo 011. Yes. Naona Dennis Kibigo anasema good morning Gerald. Asante bila memsha honorable Franz Bode Tamnyole. Chris Ruta anasema GB mwenyewe Taklif from County 029 big up. Amamsha Manuel Serem. Kevin Donigan anasema Alaska tuko ndani kabisa iko sawa. Watu wa America bana. Aeroki anasema naamsha Muradhi. Ataka afunge kioski. Abdulaziz Shakur anasema asante tuned in from Meru County. Naona of course Gabe unasema good morning GB watching from somewhere. Asante sana. Perian Kema amesha Governor Mushendo amesema yuko mia. Governor Mushendo yuko. Baadaye kulikuwa na ajali jana pale Kiambu. Kuna jamaa aliangukiwa na kware. So I think Governor Mushendo yuko pale anajaribu kushughulikia mambo hapa na pale. Mwevo anasema good morning team Tackle. Collins Miso anasema good morning the Tackle. Salamu ni mingi. Nikisema tupige salamu, isho leo itakuwa salamu peke yake. Kabla sijaenda sana John, unajua mgeni wa leo ni nani? Mgeni wa leo ni Daktari Pamela Odhiambo. Huyo ni women rep wa Migori County kwa kina Obado. Unajua tulisikia wanasema nataka they want to declare Migori County as a nation of its own and Governor Obado as a founding father. So atatuambia Migori kuna nini. Lakini kabla ya hiyo ndapa nafasi aweze kuintroduce pia tuambie yeye ni nani. Niliona kwa profile yake yeye ni pastor. So labda angeweza kutuombea leo, tuambie neno la leo litatoka wapi. Ndio kama tutapeleka mapasta wengi kwa viti inamaanisha tutapunguza madhambi ambayo iko nchi. Mheshimiwa karibu. Habari ya leo.
Salama kabisa bwana BITOK, asante sana kwa kunialika hapa. Na Lucia, I'm blessed to be here. Allow me to greet the great nation of Kenya and its great people. Praise the Lord. Amen. Amen. I am a pastor, I am a preacher and a teacher of the word of God, and a staunch believer in the salvation or power of Jesus Christ. So let nobody be surprised that I am born again. And just let me thank you so much. I think I've visited quite a number of media houses. There is none where they have opened up our talk with our word of prayer. So I'm blessed to be a partaker of this wisdom that my sister here is praying for. And allow me just to encourage Kenyans who are hearing me there that it is important that all Christians, more so the born again ones, know that our God is the King of Kings, and he delegated this kingship and authority to Adam at the Garden of Eden. So I don't want anybody who is imagining that Christians and serious born again ones like me should shy off from leadership. So Christians, wake up early in the morning, go get on with it. God expects you to be a ruler wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you. Generally, pastor, one of your constituents anaitwa Chris Tata. He was not aware that women rep wake ni pastor. So we are happy when you say that. Na kuna inamaanisha the more unajua anasema ya kwamba the way we are the salt of the earth. If you want to put the world some flavor, then we need to start by putting the right people in. Wewe sema unataka kubadilisha test ya chakula na unataka kuweka chumvi on the side 1 kilometer away. So maybe we need to get more of you guys. All right.
Okay, mimi ni nani? I'm one of those little daughters of God who was born couples of decades ago in a small village called Nyatike to my late beloved parents, Pastor or Reverend, as he used to call himself, Sebastian Ochieng, and my mother, Margaret Ochieng. They were great servants of God, and I thank God that they bequeathed this great gift to me and to my other siblings. I was born in a family of about 13 daughters and one son, the eighth born of my family. And I grew up in that village in a very humble background. I think ours was something that somebody would say today would have stopped me from being who I am today, because me and poverty, we were synonymous. I remember walking bare-chested until a very advanced age of my life, because my father was not even able to afford us proper clothing. But one thing he did, which I cherish to date, that he encouraged us to honor God and go to school. And these two sentiments from both my father and my mother, if only you would hear my language or understand my language, BITOK, allow me to say it the way they would say it, so that somebody would translate it. They would say something like, Nyithinda, wene uru Nyasaye, diure school. That is directly translated is leave it to God, go to school whenever there was any issue that was difficult. So I started schooling around 1980. I think I went to the Roma Primary School for one term. The second term, they moved me to Wendo region to live with one of my sisters who was already married. And I went to standard 2. I went on to class 5. By the end of that term, the next year, they pushed me to class 7. I went on from there, then to high school in still around Awendo, which was the then Rongo constituency. And by the end of the day, I got to the university. I studied at Kenyatta University for my first degree, second degree, and my third degree at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. I started off as a high school teacher, having trained to be able to teach French language and business studies. I did this for about 20 or so years, then moved on to be a teacher at the university for another 8 years. And that's where I left as I was coming to vie for the seat of the women rep of Migori County. Besides my teaching, as you have heard, I have been an active Christian all my life. I actually got born again when I was in class 7. That's when I officially and consciously gave my life to Christ. And I have been born again to date. So I've participated in a lot of church work and pastoring, preaching, praying, and all that. Apart from that, I've been keen on community development, especially in the issues of education. I have been a mentor to various youths, and I would go out of my way to visit schools, visit high schools, just to talk to children, especially in Migori County, about what I called the emergent careers, so that they would know it is not just being a doctor, being engineer, being teacher, which can make somebody. And apart from that, issues of youth and adolescence have been critical to my heart, because I've been sad of late to see many of our young people indulge in early sex, premarital sex, and they get pregnant, some get sick, some go to early marriages, and breaking away from this vicious cycle of poverty has been such a challenge to the youth. So my heart actually goes out for the youth and the young couples. I hate to see marriages breaking, because I believe we can always rekindle the fire. Having said that, I would like to note that I am married to one beautiful husband in Kenya, a mother of 11 children.
Very important.
7 boys and 4 beautiful girls.
Amazing.
So I heard from your greetings, quite a number of your audience come from Rift Valley. I want to say Shamge to them. And they are invited. We can exchange some goats. Or what do the Rift Valley people pay for dowry? I don't know what
some
it
cows.
is.
So I hope my guys here are listening so that they can play like them.
Yes. Mother-in-law. And they'll get a cool one.
Sure. So how did you get into politics yourself? What inspired you to get into politics?
My getting into politics is, to me, a call rather than just a feeling of, yes, nimetosha kuwa kiongozi. I think in the past, wherever else I've worked or whatever I've done, even in school, I've occupied some positions of leadership. But little did I know that it would actually land me into the political arena. Now, I've been a serious admirer of Raila Amolo Odinga. He has a level of consistency in his pursuit of what somebody would call social democracy. And while I was younger, I would follow him from a distance. And I would follow what he's doing here and there, of course, through the papers, TVs, and all that kind of thing. But come around 1995 to 96, something happened to me which may not be very significant to people, but I think it quickened a different spirit in me. There was this day I was going to work. Then I was teaching at Highway Boys. And along El Selassie Avenue, there were all sorts of portals then in Nairobi CBD. So along El Selassie Avenue, there was this smartly dressed lady in a cream suit. I was seated in a matatu at the window. And it had rained heavily that night. So these portals were full of water. And this lady was walking, tack, I guess she was going to some office nearby. But then, and matatu, which was in front of us, just pumped into this portal and the water splashed and it washed this woman right from her head all the way down. And I was like, no, God. I shed tears, actually, on her behalf. And I bowed my head and I said, God, when will you ever raise a Nehemiah to rebuild the walls of Kenya and Nairobi in particular? From that day henceforth, there was this strong urge always in me to pray for my country and the leaders of my country. So I continued, and God kept showing me very many things which I may not share here because it would be a long story. But then the turning point for me was around 2013, towards the end or early 2014, soon after the election of our current president, Uhuru Kenyatta, and his deputy, William Ruto. There was this particular day that there was a conversation in the TV in the evening, and I had just come from work. So I walked in and I asked one of my children, could you put for me news? I want to hear what Kenya is saying. And the anchor announced that there would be one of very special guests who was to talk about some issues to do with corruption. Around that time, His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga had just complained about the issues of Chicken Gate, those deals that sometimes people don't want to talk about so much in government, the Anglo-leasing and all that. And so this particular special guest was brought. I was standing there watching. And the man of God spoke very well. He spoke very many good things. Allow me not to mention names. But then at some stage he made this statement, which I don't know why it hit me that hard that day. But this is what he said. He said,
Raila has always also bothered Kenyans every now and again, complaining about poverty. But where are those poor people when others are making wealth? And I don't know, but that question somehow offended me, because what I expected from this prominent leader was to actually take seriously the issue of eradicating poverty in our land. We had just amalgamated this constitution, which devolved power, devolved resources to the grassroots. And I thought, I was optimistic to have them go around in Murang'a and see these jigger-ridden people, and go to Mandera and go to Migori, where I come from, down to the coast, and just deal with poverty. So when he was asking where the poor people are when others are making wealth, I don't know, BITOK, but it hit me like a thunderbolt. And that was the end of my listening. I don't know what else he said after me, but I ran into my upstairs, into my bedroom, past the bedroom, into some balcony I have there. And know what? The way I was, I just lay down on my belly, and I started crying there bitterly to God. And I was asking God, for how long are our people going to live like this? I hoped these are people you have chosen who can alleviate poverty, and they are strong and young enough. God, for how long? BITOK, it was a long prayer, because the whole night I prayed there, I never slept. At some stage, those who are spiritual would understand what I'm about to say. I felt that that burden was lifted from me, and I felt lighter and happy. Actually, I laughed where I was lying. And when I looked at my watch, it was about 5:30 in the morning. So some debate started. And now, do you go to work? Do you go to sleep? Then some judge said, if you go to sleep now, you'll oversleep. Go to work and come and rest later. So I lifted myself, I went to my bathroom, and I removed my clothes. I was bathing. In this moment when the water poured on me, a voice spoke to me and was asking me, Pamela, whom shall I send? And the righteous are afraid. And I thought I was going crazy because it was such a loud voice. I looked around me, I thought, something is not right. So this voice spoke a second time. I opened the door of my jacuzzi to see who was around. There was none. And the voice spoke a third time. And something tapped me like, don't you realize God is talking to you? I said, God talking to me when I'm naked in the bathroom? Must be a crazy God. How is this? So I said, why would God talk to me when I'm naked? And God, you know, if it is you talking to me, I was not praying so that you send me. I was praying because you have put people in authority, and you have the power to change them, to have them do the right thing. That is what my petition is all about. Then this voice spoke a fourth time and said, Pamela, you are crying to me. Whom shall I send? And the righteous are afraid. I said, God, could you be telling me what you told Isaiah? Let your will be done. But you know, God, I'm also afraid. And I made a long list of things that made me afraid. I worshipped God and thanked him for every good thing that he has done, because from that poor background to where I was now, driving my own Prado car, which I bought with my own money, living in my own house with a jacuzzi, I thought God had actually done me well.
In a jacuzzi.
You know?
That is underlinable.
And I'm telling you, I told God, I'm also afraid. Because I'm afraid to lie. God, I'm afraid to steal. God, I'm afraid to... You know, in Kenya, I'm told when you are a beautiful girl like me, and these young men around, or the old men, they feel like you, for you to make any sense, you must be... I don't want to say that, now that I'm born again. I told God. So by the end of the day, God told me, go, I will be with you. It is at that point that I started considering going into the political arena. And a word of God came to me and said, whenever God wants to change a nation, he would go for a woman. Whenever God wanted to change any nation, he would go for some youth or for some child to be born. And this informed my decision to go to Migori County and start off from the women rep sheet, where I wanted to get direct hold of the youth and the women and possibly the children, more so the vulnerable. So I think in a nutshell, this explains how I got into politics.
And Pamela
that's how
was sent.
I walked to the various significant others, including my party leader, and told him, you know, I'm considering going to Migori in 2017, and I'm going to take the women rep seat. And the rest is now history. If you want more details about this, maybe
we'll ask Baba. We'll ask Baba.
Yes.
But anyway, so the thing is, baada ya Daktari Pamela kutumwa, you honored the call.
Yes, I did.
All right. 4 years down the line, or
Yes.
3 years down the line, do you feel you've done justice to that calling?
Exactly. I think whenever there are issues, whether in parliament where I serve, whether in my county or country, I've always tried to speak, and more so from the script of what God tells me, without having to really worry who is going to be rubbed the wrong way. I've tried to do the work, like I believe so much in what I call transformational leadership. So I've tried to transform my people, the youth and the women. First, I have had to work very hard to organize various fora for civic education, and the target here is their mindset. There is a way that these days I'm sad that young girls and young men would drop out of school because they claim they are poor. But me, it was this poverty which kept pushing me to go and go and go, because I really wanted to change the status quo. And I thank God he has helped me to change it.
What are some of the things that you...
I have initiated projects aimed at changing the living standards of my people, the women, the youth, and persons with a disability. In my office, I have some funds. I have indiscriminately given these funds to groups to be able to start their own businesses or manage their own businesses and bring food on their table. In fact, the latest I did between 1st and around 6th of September, which I felt compelled as a mitigation against the COVID-19 effects on people's small businesses. In fact, in the rural where I come from, I don't want to call them small businesses. They are micro enterprises or micro businesses, because you find a woman going to the lake there to get just a small trough of omena, and she is also in business. One buys 2 packets of unga and they're making some mandazi. She is also in business. And these are the kind of businesses that we are dealing with in the county there. So I have done that. I've given bursaries to students. Like now the call is on for students to go to school. I know I'm about to go to Migori to release some checks, at least to facilitate the children to go back to school, those who will get. It is a very limited amount of money, but I give it all. I have 11 children, but I pay their fees as I give these bursaries to other needy children who are not privileged like mine. I've initiated agribusiness activities and horticultural farming. I have given groups of youths greenhouses to do tomatoes, to do vegetables and other small cash crops that can be, the turnover is a little higher, and this is going on. I'm doing projects of value addition, like I have 2 or 3 groups already doing probiotic yogurt, Rongo dairy farmers, Rays of Hope in Uriri, and Sona East Women Circle and all those. So I'm working with these groups and just pushing them. The Nyakodero women group in Rongo are doing peanut butter jam, and already we have branded this. It is in the supermarkets. I think we've done a lot. We have trained young people, especially the Boda Boda team. Before I took over this office in Migori County, you know, Migori was very rowdy. All the time, these young people are fighting in funerals. And I managed to get them in small groups and talk to them out of this violence. And I was asking them, when somebody is coming to hire you to go and make noise or fight for them in a funeral, I would wish that you go to this funeral when their firstborn son or firstborn daughter is leading the delegation, because when you are killed there, and we have also gone to bury somebody else, so how many losses? And remember, you are a father to some young child in class 1, class 3. Now your children are making noise in class 1, you are also making noise by the roadside. and this kind of conversation has gone a long way in shaping the behavior of these young men. I went out of my way to give them money also to buy their own motorbikes. I gave them licenses, and right now they are such an organized team. I'm so happy. And I've trained some of them to make bricks, what I call eco bricks, in my pursuit to preserve and conserve the environment. I have introduced the making of eco bricks in Migori County, and these young people are making these bricks, which again my office would be ready to be the first buyer to build some houses for some vulnerable old women. We have bought iron sheets for them. Now we are making the bricks. As I sit here today, these young people have made, one of these groups that we have trained, have made about 6,000 of these bricks. These bricks are not burnt like the rest. They are just compressed, and it is much cheaper and much stronger. And as we compress them, we don't use a lot of water, we don't use any fire. So that will help me stop anybody from cutting down any trees in Migori. And this is also done under another project initiative, which I call Let's Make Migori County Green Again. Here we have raised other youth groups who are doing seed beds, and then I buy these seed beds and persuade the community to plant them in their shambas. So we are doing all those kind of things, and I believe by the end of my tenure, Migori County is going to be transformed. Like what I was telling you about the youth and their businesses. Last month, I released about 12.8 million in the economy of Migori. And I think this is what I'm all about, and many others.
Makofi kwa hiyo.
Asante sana. Asante
That's
sana.
amazing.
Yes, and plus some of the projects that I found stalled when I took over this office. I found my predecessor had started some projects. They were building constructions, which I moved very swiftly and also finished. I brought them to an end because my leadership is not this type where you say, oh, this was started by so and so, I'm not touching it, so that we have so many white elephants government projects. I finished the Nguruna Gender-Based Violence Center. I finished the Nyamburu Market, Mururu Market Shed, or Nyankore Market Shed, Awendo ICT Center, and in fact at Awendo, I equipped the place. I have trained so far about 650 students, courtesy of Corona. The last cohort still was suspended, but we are about to resume. So these are some of the things that
you are doing all this with only a family fund.
Oh yes, oh wow, yes.
That's amazing.
It is possible, and that's why I'm telling you, to the call that go, I will be with you. I simply came out with the objective to tell Kenyans and tell the people, my immediate surrounding and the entire world, that it is possible. We can do it right. Yes, the resources may be little, but if we put it to the stated use, it can make a difference.
Wow.
And I believe whoever is sincere in Migori will testify to the same things that I'm
I would love to see those testaments. Watu wa Migori, I'm seeing that there are a lot of guys who have come in from Migori. Jamaa amesema hapa salimia my women rep. Asema Vijesta select asema good morning BITOK, read for me my women rep. But why is it long? There isn't activity of late. But we thank for the July awareness of Corona. It really helped me a lot.
Hold it there. Hold it there. Hold it there. That person must not be living in Migori. Of late, even after I left on the 9th, I got sick actually and was admitted in hospital. But let me tell you what has been happening in Migori. There is a team of young people, teachers, and other concerned or interested parties who have been going around in Migori, visiting each of the 40 wards. And you know what has been going on? The girl child and the boy child mentorship under the leadership of a program that we call Linda Kesho. This program was initiated by my revered, my mentor, my mom, Ida Odinga, and Dr. Pamela Odhiambo Foundation. So we've been doing this in Migori, and today, as I talk here, they are doing the 2 last wards in Awendo sub-county. They have gone to Kuria East, Kuria West, Suna West, Nyatike, Suna East and Suna West, and Rongo. So yesterday they were in Awendo, today again they are in Awendo, and tomorrow they will be. Much as Pamela has been away, action is on. It is going on, and so that person needs to be informed.
He needs to go back to Migori.
Sure.
Wacha kukaa Nairobi. Enda Migori uone testimony. Allow that. This feedback is going so much. She's organized. I like the way she talks, empowering, uplifting us. Sasa tuende kwa mambo ya actually the function of a women rep to articulate the issues of women in parliament. We would like to know, we talk about the 2/3 agenda, which is almost sending the parliament into dissolution. Do you think the parliament should be dissolved or not?
BITOK. Allow me to put it this way. Kenyans, we have come a long way, and we still have a long way to go. Women have come a longer way. Right from the time Mau Mau war was going on, that brought us what we now call independence and freedom. Women actively participated in this. However, historically, most of these women were never even really appreciated, as it were. But at some stage, women came up, and we have been going on and on and on. I would like to salute the likes of Zipporah Kitony, the likes of Phoebe Asio, the likes of Odhiambo and all the others that have gone ahead of us, Kina Martha Karua. These women have done us proud, and they made steps upon steps, and all the other well-wishers, and we have seen women in positions of leadership increase, not only in politics. As I talk here today, you know we have quite a number of women who are CEOs, including ministers. And I think that is a fact. However, it still remains that we still have a long way to go. So the case of the 2/3 gender role, it has been a toil for us. Like I remember at some stage, the other day I saw my brother Mbadi talk passionately about the Duale bill, which according to him was defeated because the women were not in parliament. I want to state here that personally and other women, we were in parliament. And much as some of our colleagues were not there, I don't think the way we are in that parliament, even if we were there, all of us, and the male were not there, then still we would have lacked that threshold. So I also want to put it to Kenyans that many other bills and many other motions have been supported and passed with just very few people. So that, according to me, it is an excuse that the women were not there, that's why that bill was defeated. I don't think that's the reality. The reality is there is just no goodwill. However, the concept of dissolving the parliament, to me, at this juncture, when we all acknowledge that there are more serious heartaches in this country that we really need to pay attention to, the timing of this call for dissolution may be something that Kenyans need to think about. The budget that may come with it, even for us to go back and look for the vote in about 2 years remaining to the general election, I don't know. There are very many questions that may need to be asked. However, if you would ask me this way, BITOK, this is what I want to say to Kenyans and especially to fellow women out there. I think these are all key learning points. Women, we can make it. And I want to state categorically that we are sitting here today, Lucia, with a recently released report of even Census 2019, which is still saying that women are even more than men in this country. So women, let's tighten our skirts, wake up, and when we go to the election, elect fellow women. It is possible. We can do it.
Yeah.
And with that, I also want to encourage us that as a manager, it is important that every other time when there are issues, we can set priorities. Today, to me, I think the most serious priority that I would propose, how do we get Kenyans back onto their economic track? To me, this is significant.
That's what you think is very significant now.
Yes.
Now, on the two agenda bill, and you've rightly mentioned that women can actually elect fellow women if they choose to, because in a democratic space, people make decisions in the parliament. And if women wanted more women in parliament, they would actually vote. But anyway, outside that, in parliament, what are some of the things that you as a person, as a representative of women, have pushed in terms of bills, maybe, even on the same to that agenda? Have you raised that issue in parliament? Outside parliament? Have you raised
yes,
it?
we've raised
it in
many issues.
In
like I think one
on
of
the
the issues on the TUTAD.
Yes.
On the TUTAD, yeah, we have been raising it every now and again. You know, in parliament, when somebody has brought a bill and you have the same interest, the best you can do is to adjoin yourself to it. You don't have to come up with a new one. But we have said this 2/3 gender rule needs to be observed. What we have done, especially with the flopping of these bills that are discussed in parliament, we have pushed also, together with Kenya Women and all that, that there be amendment to the parties Act, Political Parties Act.
For them to appoint more women.
So that let there be a deliberate move, even from the party level, to try and see if this election, instead of waiting for women just to be nominated after the elections, the political parties can decide then, for example, in Migori, where we have, say, 40 wards, and 8 sub-counties. Why not have like about half of these wards, the party just make a deliberate effort to push in women there? And maybe 4 or 3 of these constituencies, the party makes a deliberate effort. I think the Kenyans must agree to make a very conscious, deliberate effort to use the various levels. Because let me tell you, BITOK, it is one thing to nominate. It is another to elect. Because you see, in nomination, for example, the executive would exercise that power and authority vested in them by the people. But again, where the people now directly decide to exercise their own power, it may be very difficult for you, even if you are there to force them to do this and this. So we are trying this other approach, to look at it from the party perspective, because Kenyan politics is dominantly party. You know, there are various parties, the dominant parties, the small parties. So I think what is not clear to me, BITOK, if you may allow me to say, is Kenyans are out there. We have seen women leaders. One of them is talking to you today. All we need to do is to be courageous enough to overcome certain cultural obstacles that is standing between us and our capable leaders who are wearing skirts and not trousers. You know, of course, these days we can also wear trousers, but you see, yeah. So I'm thinking we can approach this thing from even a lower level as we grow up. But today, allow me to say that Kenyans, we need to address some very, very serious issues that are directly really affecting our people. Some people are going without food in their houses. Some people are not able to go for medication because they lost their job because of COVID. They no longer have any form of insurance. Our young men from the universities and young women have no hope because they don't see a future where they can exercise the skills that they have acquired in our training institutions. So I think it is high time we prioritized what it is that we can deal with as Kenyans now and what we can push a little ahead. I think that would be my take, and if you don't mind, please move on to something else.
No, before we move on, before we actually move on,
yes.
I would actually, because you're a woman in politics,
Yes.
and we are told that politics is very dirty. You're also a professional in politics.
Oh, yes.
And I love that. And you're the first leader that I have heard in my entire 29 years on this earth talking about mentorship and transformational leadership and civic education. You're the first one, trust me. And you sit here and a narrative is being pushed that women are the enemy of women. But you've been here for 30 minutes and I'm like, oh my God, I love this woman, you know, because you're speaking my language. What are some of the challenges that you have faced as a woman in politics and as a professional in politics? Because a lot of professionals will go like, I don't want to ruin my good name by getting into politics because I'm going to be dragged through the mud.
Thank you. First, allow me to say that I don't agree with the theory that politics is a dirty game.
Yeah.
I think the people are dirty in their mind and heart. And so when somebody decides to do dirty things, that does not make the game dirty. I am saying this with all the courage because I used to be a player. If you can see, I used to be a runner. Before I messed up myself with this idea of getting babies. I used to be a runner, and I used to be a serious ball player. Now, in rugby or in basketball, sometimes you are said, hit low and hard. You know, you hit your opponent in a manner that the referee does not see you. You know, that is something in your heart, but you can still manipulate and score the ball without having really to hit your opponent. That is also possible. So I want to say that Kenyans, we get some evil rhetoric, and we engrave it, that we embrace it, and we make it part of us. Just like I've said, the challenges we have gotten as professionals, for example, in this country, if only our professionals would stand up and inform the decisions that our political leaders make, then we would be good to go.
Yeah.
For example, right now, allow me to cite a very good example. We have our president, but something sinister came called COVID-19. The president acknowledged that he has no idea about this thing, and he allowed the medical fraternity to inform what is happening in the country and what we should do and what we should not do. And so even in this so-called politics, I am a professional, and I've been urging my fellow professionals that let's stand up and try to inform our government with genuine statistics, genuine researched decisions and solutions to our problems. And that's why, allow me to preempt, because sooner or later I might be the governor of Migori County.
Amen.
And I want all my professionals to fall back and invest in that county. I'm not afraid of them, because I know what they are capable of doing. And this is where we err, because the professionals, the people who know, have feared and they have decided to coil their tail. On the other hand, there are the theory that women are enemies of themselves.
Of each other, yeah.
I also don't believe in it.
Me too.
I've just praised a number of women that I admire in this country. And I think even if it were not for their age, which may now incapacitate some of them, somebody like Phoebe Asio, if she stood for anything today, I would still vote her in. You know, and what is the problem? The problem is that Kenyans, sometimes we are too emotional, and sometimes we are also very forgetful.
And gullible.
The women, the male come up with this narrative that, oh, you know, she is a fellow woman, she will be proud, she will be jealous, you know. So they manipulate us and make us to play into their hands. And that's why I'm telling the women, wake up and realize that you are a woman. Don't just look at a fellow woman and think that you know, the male figure in Kenya is very interesting. When you are able to think and say the things you are thinking about, like now what I'm doing, they say that one is proud. She's very arrogant. She doesn't this. They will brand you all sorts of negative
I've been told I'm too
names.
stubborn, so
Okay?
I won't get a husband.
So what I want, no, you will get. I have very good sons. You can come over. These are the small tricks that the women need to stop allowing the opposite sex to play big on us. For example, you know, I'm telling the young girls that you must be shown who to marry you. No, you have the capacity to choose.
Yeah.
There is a way animals merge. In a way, you find yourself in a team of people, and you just find, oh, I'm attracted to so and so. I can get all well with so and so, and not so and so. Not because you hate them, but yani damu upatiana tu. So I am urging the women, let us not listen to these petty lies about us that actually make us captive of the things that God ordained for us. In fact, I want the women to take it from me. The Bible says in the book of Genesis that God made Adam a helpmate fit for him. You cannot help somebody until you are stronger than them. If I fell here today, BITOK, and have to be carried to an ambulance out there, you can only carry me if you are heavier than me. So for a woman to be a helper to a man, to me it means that the woman is actually stronger than the man. And I know it because I can be pregnant and cooking and teaching and doing my politics. And who can be as strong as a woman? And who is more loving than a woman?
They can't.
A woman who can actually give herself, leave her father's home and go patch herself in somebody's home. Women are the strongest. Women who are listening to me, are they listening?
They're listening.
Women, you are the strongest lot of human beings. Please stand up and go for whatever seats, go for whatever jobs. Like the learned women of today, don't shy off from any other job. I'm very proud of Professor Margaret Kobia. I think she's one of the ministers, women ministers of late, who have made me so happy. Cool, calm, and doing her work. And she believes in what she thinks. And I think we have such women. Look at Keroche. Tabitha is doing very well there as a business executive. I mean, we have
She has
it
actually
all.
broken a lot
and
of
go to the
barriers.
farms. Who are producing the food that Kenya is eating?
Women.
Women. Then somebody comes up and says that women are enemies of their own. And women is feeding the nation. Women come up. I believe today if we wanted a female president, we would put that. Yeah, so I'm here on the lane. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for Tinga to finish. I'm waiting for Tinga to finish. When he finishes, I get in.
You land there.
Oh yes.
Land there.
Oh yes.
No, I always say that, you know, there's a story I was told that women were so powerful in a land, you know, in the distant past, and women and men saw the power that the women had, and they decided to make all of them pregnant at the same time so that they could usurp the power. So I'm always telling women that this narrative of women being enemies of each other and themselves is a narrative that was started by a man who saw the potential of women coming together, and that potential scared him. It scared the daylights out of him. And there's a tackler here, Max. I know you've said nimedanganya, but you are that type of man who's scared of the power that women will have when they come together. I love this woman. I love her. I love her thought process, and I love her character because she's a strong woman who stands for what she believes in. So, Max, kaka tu hapo, wengoja tunakuja.
Alright, nimeona mheshimiwa ameruka mambo ya tuta agenda parliament. Amesema tusonge mbele, lakini sawa tusonge. Unajua umesema
Lazima tusonge bwana.
watu wa Migori naona nasikia gavana anasema
The issue
mahali
is
imefika nitakutwanga
the
sasa.
issue is, listen, women out there, watch the space. I want to see women come out seriously in 2022 and elect fellow women. And women like me, I'm willing to mentor all the females in Migori County, like the ones that were nominated. I've been asking them, even if I open to you some of the platforms where we are together, I'm asking them, guys, ladies who are now ready to go for single constituency seats, who are now able to, I want to know who among them is willing, and I'll support that woman, for real, for free.
Tuanza na Lucia. Alright, haya tukisonga na poja tuende mambo ya kwenu Migori. By the way, unajua ulisema unangoja Tinga amalize, lakini ningefurahia kama ungeanza kama Tinga baada yako, so that we can balance the equation. But what's happening in Migori? Why do you guys want to impeach your governor?
There's nothing happening in Migori, brother.
What about the impeachment that has been going around from the party?
Remember, I told you here that my greatest concern, we better talk about issues that are affecting Atieno and Akoth and Wanjiku down there in Migori. The impeachment thing, I think it is clear. The stakeholders of Migori County and that all that has been happening. A lot has been said, a lot has been done. And each party has done what they thought was right. For example, the Anti-Corruption Authority, the police and the law enforcement wing of Kenya did what they thought was right, or what they think is right for the situation that they found out in Migori County. Of course, the party has got rules and regulations that govern them as to what they can pronounce themselves on or not, and that they have done. Constitutionally, I want to remind us that it is the MCAs who have the sole constitutional mandate to impeach a governor. So now, to me, this debate of impeachment, I also want to lay it to rest, because I think there are more serious, pressing issues affecting my people. Like now, those businesses that I'm talking about. If I have something that I can say about them, I think I would be glad to say that. We have this tendency of zeroing in discussing personalities and people, things that are just happening to one individual, and forgetting the larger mass. So I'm telling you, there is nothing happening in Migori. Migori is peaceful. People are going about their businesses. Many calls I get here, parents are worried about how their children can go back to school. And that's why I talked about the bursary that I'm about to go and release. So some of these trivial issues, the stakeholders are handling it. So I think Migori is fine. Even you, if you want to come and visit Migori, don't think that you will meet anything serious. There is nothing serious. It is unfortunate that at some stage my MCAs went physical, and in fact I'm very sad that one of my women nominated MCAs got her hand broken. That is very unfortunate. But this discussion, I don't think it is worth the while. I think there are more pertinent issues that are actually worrying me in Migori, and of course in Kenya as a whole. So what has been done, and that is it. Vile tu umeisikia.
Even ndio iko. I wonder what is trivial and what is not, because when there are issues in account, it affects service delivery. So I don't know how trivial that can get, because anything that affects service delivery is not trivial.
BITOK, Bwana asifiwe.
Hallelujah.
You know what is in my constitution? I see one here.
Yeah, she has a constitution.
That in the event that the governor is not able to discharge their duty, the deputy governor should step in.
Takes over.
We have a deputy governor in Migori County. There are CECs in every department. And I think I have not been told that they are not able to discharge their duties. Yeah, so services are going on. That's why I'm even telling you that I went there and gave checks. I also am going there again to give bursaries. How come this is not affecting my service delivery? Why is it affecting others? I think let the parties that are handling it handle it.
All right.
Yeah. Otherwise, be rest assured, Migori is on.
Migori iko sawa?
Yes.
All right. Umesikia wanasema Migori iko sawa, mambo ya impeachment na nini ni mambo madogo madogo ambayo itasukumwa na wale ambao wanahusika. Twende kwa magazeti. The Standard on the headline says the big gamble. It talks about the schools. You sit in the education committee. Do you think we are ready to go back to school?
Yes, we are ready to go back to school. I think we are ready to go back to school. BITOK, the starting point is our schools were disrupted just like any other sector of the economy. And it is unfortunate. Now that this thing happened without a warning and it stopped, whoever was maybe cooking ugali just stopped there. Whoever was in the restaurant, when they said no more restaurant, they just stopped like that. And whoever was in schools, we just stopped like that. I think it is fine that we can try going back to school. I know there are those theories and thoughts that the academic year was disrupted. But I think what the ministry has said and what I think as a teacher should happen is that we simply pick it up from where we left so that we don't have to waste all this time because, yes, the academic year was disrupted. Allow me at this juncture also to tell Kenyans that as far as COVID-19 has been concerned, considering the damage and havoc it has wreaked in other parts of the world, I think I do not want to go away without quickening Kenyans' minds and hearts to know that there has been a grace over us, some divine favor from God. I know there are families who have lost their loved ones courtesy of the COVID period, and we were also told by the doctors there was some underlying condition even before the COVID set in. I say pole to these families. I say pole to the businesses that have been disrupted. But we should be able to know that actually what has happened to us, considering our population, considering the number of cases we registered, considering the number of people we lost, I want to declare there has been a divine favor of God upon Kenya and upon Africa as a whole. And with that, I think I want to encourage us to just go back and see what happens. If we have opened our hotels, we have opened our bars, we have opened our churches. You remember these children, even we are not actually keeping them indoors. They play in these communities. And like most of our primary schools, it is the children from just the same neighborhood who go to this school. So I think it is okay, Kenyans, let's be courageous. I know it is difficult. I know it is worrying. But I think let's take a step of faith and allow our children to go back to school and pick it from where they have left. I think everybody is doing that. The president is doing that. As the parliamentarians, we are doing that. The mama in the shoko is doing that. So let's just pick it up. We have this October, November, December. I believe the teachers will be able to cover something. The only thing is that we still need to take a precaution so that we try to have social distancing happen. I am on record. As I have been going around Migori County, I was challenging my teachers. I told them, especially the teachers, I was telling them, you are my CEOs in the school. Don't abandon the schools. You must at least make a technical appearance there and make sure that things are in order in the school. We will still need these schools. So, just like we are struggling to revive every sector of our economy, I think it is in order that we should take the courage to trust that the God who has kept us will also keep us as we struggle by what we can humanly manage to do that which it takes to make our children safe at school. I think that's what I would want to say. Yes, I think we should take courage and go to school.
All right. I think also on the same things on schools, we are dealing with children, and this is an issue more of strategy than hope. But I mean, we need to think outside that as well. That if we are releasing children into the schools, then we really have to be ready to say we want them back in school. When you look at the facilities, because I was seeing some schools were complaining that they have not even received any support from government. Some teachers I saw in the news today were saying that they've only received soap. In schools that they don't have water. You talk about also social distancing, infrastructural issues. Do you feel we are really prepared to send back? Not an issue of, let's go back to school.
Okay,
But strategically.
That issue of preparedness, I know, has been a debate that has gone on and on. And let me tell you, BITOK, why I think we should talk and behave very differently. As part of my COVID response again in Migori, this is what I did, and I'm still willing to do, should God give me resources. I looked around Migori schools, and as a leader and as a mother, I saw a glaring need. What was the very first call when COVID happened? Wash your hands over running water regularly with soap, okay? Sanitize and all those kind of things. So what did I do? I got some money, and I acquired small tanks, which I distributed to various public places in Migori County. For the schools in particular, I gave 5,000 to 10,000 water tanks, liters water tanks. My main motive of doing this was simply to have water, at least some water stored in our schools. And what I think we need to do is not to refuse that our children should not go to school, but to urge the ministry and every other stakeholders concerned to do the right thing so that our schools are in a position to receive and keep our children. Because tell me, even if we cried and refused, are we saying we are going to completely stop the schooling in Kenya because COVID happened? I think, I'm not saying that the schools have done so well and they are all well equipped. Of course, I know. Like in my case, Migori County, I'm still pushing the same government to even release my GAF so that I can buy these tanks and have them in school. My schools don't have water. And even these tanks I'm taking there, majority, all of them, I'm only banking on rainwater. When the rainwater is not there, I don't know what the teachers will do to make sure that there is water in school. But at least the point I'm saying here, let every Kenyan be positive solution givers. Like I was telling the teachers in my area, tell Professor Magoa, how many big trees do you have in that school that can provide shade, even if it means we have to move these children, some of them, to learn under the tree? And that's when us as a committee, we sat down with the ministry and we said, now that the children require to be spaced, it means we must also add the workforce, the teachers. And you saw at some stage, TSC announced a very serious mass recruitment for teachers. So I think there is a bit that is going on. And I would wish we Kenyans, we learn to build on the small positive as we move on. I know, like the case of the desks, I don't know really what informed the decision of the ministry to take them to secondary schools, because I think most secondary schools, the children have got this small unit desk that can easily be separated. It is in the primary schools where most of the children, some schools have got this long continuous desk where people sit 3, 4. So maybe these desks should have targeted the primary schools instead. Now, having said that, BITOK, I'm not saying that there is a perfect condition in our schools. But there is also no perfect condition in our homes. And I've just told you, these children keep interacting. I walk in the marketplaces, I see them. I walk in the fields where they are playing, they play. So the question, sometimes I may politely want to wonder, this one I'm wondering very humbly, why do we think these children will only get COVID when they go to school?
But the question is, Mheshimiwa,
yes,
and this is very serious.
Yes.
The government is saying corona is out here. In fact, they're announcing a second wave of coronavirus. And they are saying that the infections are going up. And they are saying they're not ready to fully, as you've said about your open bus, but you don't fully open the economy. If we are ready to pack our children to school, why can we say, all right, we are done with this corona thing, let's open up the economy, so that also these parents can go back to work?
No, one thing at a time. I think most of our markets are actually operational, where most of these parents do their businesses. And as the president would have it, you know, like now they did what they call that phase of calling the class 8 and the form 4. I think it is to me the step towards, let's see what happens when this happens. Because again, you know, other countries tried, maybe the cases went up, they closed again. Us, we have not done anything of that nature. So we don't even have a point of reference. And that's why I'm thinking, one, we need to be part of the whole solution. The ministry may not have it. For example, there was a day I was being asked on Citizen TV by one colleague that the private schools, some of them are closing, so the government should advance them some money to jumpstart them. But you see, during that period, all this time of COVID, the government has also not been collecting taxes from anywhere. So now, where do we expect this money to come from? These are some of the pertinent questions.
Government has been collecting taxes.
But there's a lot of billions that have been coming in. COVID from billionaires and all. Anyway, Lucia,
I don't know.
I don't know if you live in this country,
I don't know about the COVID billionaires. And,
I'm not sure if you live around here.
No, I live around here. And you see, listen, BITOK. Tuende pole pole. I live in this country. But the COVID billionaires, I think there is some work going on them also. The alleged COVID billionaires. Yes. So we cannot just sum and lump up everything. There are those processes that the government normally does, which even you,
the same government.
The same government was halted.
The same government that is doing the same things anyway.
Yeah.
We'll try and be visitors in Jerusalem.
What we are saying, I'm not exonerating the government. Like I'm saying.
I hope you don't actually.
I'm not.
Because you started up so well.
I'm not. Unless you want to force me.
No, I'm not forcing you.
I'm saying in this issue of COVID, I'm saying the preparedness in terms of space, in terms of water and sanitation, we need to urge the Ministry of Education
to do more.
All
right,
and I think that is the practical thing to say. Yeah.
So even as we talk about schools opening, there are schools in Baringo that will not open, not because of all the issues that you've mentioned, because they are flooded. Is there any plan to deal with those students that go to those schools? Because now they are being left behind. And CS Magoha kept saying, I don't want to leave any child behind. That is why I have instructed private schools not to do online learning, you know. But then we are leaving children in Baringo behind. If I was a parent in Baringo, I want my child to go back to school and catch up with the rest of the country. But then they're not going to be able to. Another thing, COVID has been here for about 6-7 months now. In Rwanda, during that period, when they decided kids might go back to school and we'll need to space them, they decided to build more classes. Why haven't we borrowed such a leaf? Because we barely have classrooms in some counties. Why isn't that in the plan? We've rather focused on desks for children who don't have classrooms. Just the same way Jubilee promised laptops for kids who don't have classrooms and have never seen electricity. Are our priorities misplaced when it comes to the education sector?
Well done, Lucia. Good questions. I wish you asked this question to our Minister for Education.
Do you have his number? And I would love to call him.
Because I have told you, as a committee of education, our role majorly is oversight. And all these things that you are talking about, we have actually discussed them at a committee level. So even when we were doing the budget for this year, we took cognizance of the fact that COVID has happened and it may need extra interventions. We discussed it and recommended things to be done as a committee. And so, when we are talking about the issue of infrastructure, I have a list here in my phone here that was sent to me of schools that we were told as a committee have received money for infrastructure. So, I am aware that this is what the minister has done, and that's why I'm saying it appears like it has been done, but done late. when it should have been done earlier.
Earlier, okay.
Now, the reasons why it was not done earlier, please allow me to be me. I don't know. I don't know. But meanwhile, even as we talk about those things, you mentioned floods. And again here, I think I'm on record in the past. There have been areas in Kenya which periodically in cycles every year, we have some natural phenomenon that causes difficulties in life there.
Yeah.
Now, what have I been on record saying? I have been on record saying that instead of waiting for the disaster to occur, so that we have disaster management fund and team, we should use this fund to mitigate earlier for these disasters. For example, you are talking about Baringo, but like I come from another flood-prone area. I was born in Nyatike sub-county, which is bordering Lake Victoria. And I think you know what has been happening in
water levels in
Nyatike.
Lake Victoria have been rising also.
The whole of last year and even part of 2019, I mean 2019, all the way to early and around May or so this year, there was such flooding in Nyatike that actually those people never planted anything, they never harvested anything. So what am I saying? Apart from the COVID, there is danger. At some stage, we got some small food to give them, which has since ended, but they have not harvested again. So danger is on. That's why I'm saying sometimes we forget very fast. What I have always advocated for, and I would want to advocate if the government of Kenya will allow me, some of these schools which are planted in flood-prone areas, it is high time when we made a grand strategy simply to permanently move them from there and move the children, or do dikes or something that can avert these floods permanently, so that not every year we are here discussing the same question. I wouldn't be surprised if next year you call me again and you're asking me about these Baringo floods and the children. So that's why I'm saying it is high time Kenyans, we stopped just talking about things for the sake of talking, but talking with a serious resolve to do something permanent about it. Like these same floods, they are causing havoc now, isn't it? Tomorrow, these floods will be no more, and it will be heat
Drought
causing problem in Baringo.
Yeah.
Have we thought as a nation that we can have even some biggest underground dams that can ever be erected in the world to host this water, to use them in the same Baringo when there will be need for water? These are the issues.
So,
when we are talking about Northeastern, we have always been told of this sun dryness causing animals to die and blah, blah, blah. Have we ever thought as a nation that we raise some mega billion solar panel that can be turned into energy? You know, I'm thinking of a Kenya. I'm dreaming of a Kenya where we will stop talking of things just because they have happened and we are always on the defensive and the response. I would want a proactive Kenya where we can do things that can mitigate, especially already known calamities, like the case of floods, the case of the drought, the case of those things that we are talking about.
Now I want to challenge you.
Yes, challenge me.
Because we as Kenyans think of these things, and we elect you leaders to go represent those thoughts. And you've spoken really well. You sit in parliament.
Yes.
I'm sure these are things you might have raised before.
I have.
We have a disaster management agency. We have a parastatal under the Ministry of Water and Irrigation to take care of flooding, you know. But then that institution gets flooded every time it rains in Nairobi. The institution itself is flooded. You know, the irony of it. Now, as a member of the House, one of the houses of Parliament,
yes,
one of your jobs is oversight. Now that these institutions have been put in place, I'm sure you guys advocated for us to have these institutions for better management of these disasters and the flooding and the perennial famine. Now that these institutions are not doing the job that you put them there to do, what are you doing about it? And if your capacity is limited, we as citizens, what can we do to assist you in Parliament to hold them accountable to their jobs?
The accountability component of it, and sometimes what makes it a very vicious cycle. Sometimes these institutions, when you talk to them, you will be finding somebody quickly weeping that, oh, there's no money to do that, there's no money to do this. And they have all the reasons to say that. But what I think as Kenyans, or including myself, what I've just said here, I will persistently say it, I will persistently push for it until it is done. However long it may take.
Do you think it's time that as members of the House of Parliament, you started taking punitive measures as consequences for institutions that do not perform as expected? Because we lack consequences
when you are
in this
talking
country.
about punitive measures,
people will steal
yes,
and get away with it. People will abuse and get away with it. People will instigate violence and get away with it. Basically, we are a country that says, do what you want, and there is no consequence for it, unless you're really poor and you've stolen a chicken because you're hungry, and then you're going to be jailed in committee for 100 years.
No, Lucia. You know, how our government is being structured. There is the Parliament part of us, where we legislate and push for these agendas and even turn them into policies through the ministries. There is the executive wing, and then there is the law enforcement wing. You know, once we raise a cry, once there is a mistake that has been done, and then the wing of the government that takes people through those punitive processes you're talking about, then that is when I think what Kenyans are saying is that each wing of the government ought to do their job and do it well and thoroughly. But let me also surprise you. I hope you are open-minded and this is a discussion where we must also observe, because you have stated what you have observed. Let me also shock you with what I have observed. For example, you have talked about stealing. Somebody is caught stealing, or somebody has caused violence or killed somebody. Then they are arrested and taken to court. What do you see? A batch of people going to harass the judges because mutu wetu tunamalizwa. Have you also not seen this in Kenya? And that's why I'm saying, Kenyans, we need to move, transform, renew our mind, attitudes, so that if Pamela has done something wrong and everybody sees it is wrong, let Pamela carry her own cross and follow Jesus or the devil,
and I'm really
whoever
glad
they want to follow.
I'm really glad
but you
talked
see,
about
when we start going round, when I BITOK here kicks me, then I take him to court. Then before long, the whole Rift Valley is here because BITOK is in court. What are we saying? So
just to be clear, I'm not about to kick you. For clarification purposes.
Thank you. At least I can confirm to the nation that there is a desk in between. Before you get here, I'll see how to help myself.
You see, I'm glad you talked about transformational leadership, because actually the recent example of that happened in your county. When Mbadi stood and said that they are going to impeach Obado, and the youth of Migori County really came out, you know. They never allowed for the agency, for the investigating agency to do an investigation.
The good news, Lucia, the good news is what I'm saying here. Let each person do their job consistently. You see, the youth could have made noise. But the case of Obado is in here. In Upper Hill here in Nairobi. So what would that stop the judges? Would it stop them from doing the right thing? Yeah. I think let's have a seriousness of each one of us. For example, as the so-called parliamentarians. We discuss good things in that parliament. We make good resolutions.
And very
But
good
then,
laws.
unfortunately, we are not also the people to implement them. So the implementers must. I was annoyed yesterday evening. In fact, I'm glad that I came here relaxed and able to smile. there is this case of defilement that I was following of some child in Migori. And then, you know what I'm being told? That the father of this girl, who is also a policeman, a Kenyan police, he has disappeared in Tanzania here. So what does that show you? I feel the fellow policemen do not have the goodwill, or our security wing does not have the goodwill to command that Magufuli brings that man back here, if really we were to be serious. So there are so many loopholes in our nation that needs to be. And our short memory, you know, something happens today, we are very sad about it, we are very furious. Then the following day,
We've forgotten
back
about
to normal.
it, yeah.
You know? And I think this is what is ailing us. To some extent, I want to also again appreciate. The other day I saw President Uhuru Kenyatta did something that made me happy. That prayer he held in the State House there, I was very happy. Why? Because we acknowledged he, as the president of Kenya, and all those team of men and women who are there like me, we acknowledge the various ills where we have become short of God's glory and our own glory. Because some of us, let me ask you, today, I know you are learned, God has given you the opportunity to sit here. But I know your father or mother somewhere may be having some land somewhere in this country. And we will go there and find that land uncultivated, but you are crying of Jah here in Nairobi. You know? We make such crazy mistakes. What is wrong with us? So, with that repentance, and I spoke after it and I said, let every other leader and the led as well pursue the path of righteousness. If we all do it right, from the sweeper to the president, from coast to west, from the north to the south, we will have a lot of peace. I'm so comfortable here with you. It doesn't matter to me that you don't speak my language. I'm not bothered that I'm black and you look lighter. I'm very happy that that mixture, you know, it looks like a white skirt and a, you know, and a black.
At least me and you are black.
It looks, it forms a nice mixture. So let Kenyans, all of us, the Bible says in the book of Hebrews 12, be ye transformed. And renewed in your mind.
In your mind and the
Kenyans,
spirit.
we need a renewal of our mind. We need a renewal of our heart. We need a renewal of our actions. We need a renewal. If I was to go to the strategic management where I belong, I would say we need a turnaround strategy.
Turnaround strategy. All right. On the turnaround strategy, is something you've talked about very passionately. And I hope you're not going to shoot this down again. And at least there's a table between the two of us. Let's case you also decide to kick me. You've talked about where the focus should be right now. We are recovering from a COVID-19 pandemic that has rendered businesses closed. It has rendered people unemployed. It has almost crippled the economy. And you say that the only thing we should be focusing right now is reviving the economy. Nothing else. Reviving the economy, focusing on resuscitating the economy, focusing on a turnaround strategy in terms of building up the economy. Do you think it's time for BBI?
The BBI.
Don't shoot that down. Don't call it trivial, by the way.
No.
Because you might just shoot it down.
I don't know what you mean exactly when you are saying, is it time for BBI? Building Bridges Initiative.
No, the referendum around it. We are saying we want a referendum.
Why shouldn't we?
Is it economic?
Why shouldn't we build bridges? Listen, the whole story about the referendum is not even as big as people are imagining.
How small is it?
Supposing we agreed, like I know we have gone round, people collecting views from all the people, and these things are being stated there, and we agree that this is the change that we want, then we wouldn't even need a referendum because we have unanimously agreed. Why must we go to a referendum?
So who are these people who are going to unanimously agree?
Kenyans,
Because a referendum is a public participation program.
Me and everybody else. This whole process has been actually a public participation. It didn't just start by some BITOK sitting somewhere and writing things. A team of Kenyans went round to every other corner of this country, collecting views on what is it that is ailing our country. Why can't we agree as a people? Where do you think the law or the rulers or whoever you think has been unfair to you? And this is what is contained in that document. I'm imagining, because actually we have now not read the... I'm just being a partaker of that team that was going around. I listened to what Kenyans were saying. There is nowhere that any Kenyan said, I want so and so killed. They all said, for example, in Migori, they said, we want the gold that is coming from Nyatike to be of value to us. We went down to the coast, they were talking about the harbor. We went down to Mount Kenya, they were crying about the tea and the coffee and the milk from their cows. These are the things that I heard from Kenyans. And the land issues and all those. So if these are genuine issues that we all agree, I don't know where that phone is. Sorry. Sorry, I forgot. I think if these are the genuine issues that are affecting our nation, we should be able to agree on them. And I would wish that when people start talking about how expensive the thing is and what is in it, and some people who are against it, you ask them now, what are you against? And they say, I've not even read it. And that's now where...
What about those who are supporting? What are they supporting? Because we have not all seen it. Or there are people who have seen it.
What I'm saying here, and what I'm saying today, BITOK, we are told the document is out. At least me, I leaped into what I think is in it because I was going around with this team when this review collection was going on. I want us to wait for this thing. And if Kenyans read it, and not wait for what some of their imagined leaders want to do and say about it. Each one of you, kama sai. You know, I told Kenyans, today, it is very rare that you will not find at least some child who is in class 8 in any homestead in our nation. At least the majority of the homesteads. That gives me hope that some Kenyan can sit down and read this thing and even tell the old grannies, Granny, this is what I'm reading for you, and this is what it means. Now, having read, then we will decide whether we agree with it or not. And that is how simple that thing can be. But in the whole motive, what I support, you are asking me what am I supporting? That idea of building bridges, so that I know in your village I have a friend, BITOK. I have a friend where Lucia comes from. I have a friend where the other young man comes from. I think that whole idea.
How many bridges do you think we are going to build with this?
As many as they can be. Like in a country like Kenya, which is full of rivers, don't we have so many bridges?
They're not enough.
Because the question is, it's already divisive. The debate itself is already divisive. So which bridges are we going to build?
BITOK. Sorry.
You're not giving us another name.
That's another name. BITOK, listen, you are insisting that it is divisive. And
I'm not insisting, I'm just saying, Lucia, am I wrong or am I right? You know, okay.
No, Lucia is wrong.
Even before she speaks, she's already wrong.
No, I'm saying Lucia thinks you are wrong. You know, it was 2/3 gender rule here. So what I'm saying is, what as at now,
because I like the way you said that we should be focusing on the economy.
At us now, what is it that is divisive about it? Why can't we let that document come out? Why are we divided? That's the question. Brother, let Kenyans know that we are one. Yeah. And the fact that it is you who is championing an idea does not necessarily make the idea wrong or right. Let's give chance to each one of us. And I think as at now, the issues that concern the people are some of those grievances that each community or region has. And I think it is in order that we can humble ourselves to accept and say, here, like, you know, you said we are neighbors with Homa Bay. Maybe I have infringed. I've gone across the border, past Opapo, and doing things in Homa Bay which I ought not to have done. I need to be humble and say, hey, here I actually trespass. Maybe ilikuwa utamu ya kukimbia ndio ikanifanya nikuje nifanye rally huku Ndewa, but actually I should have stopped at the other side of Oriat, you know. Those are places that I know you don't know, but those people who are listening to me who come from there understand. So I think the issue of the BBI, I want to hold my peace and read this document, and then I would be competent to comment about it. But I think what I want to echo here, without waiting for that document, I want Kenyans to be friends to one another. I want us to differ on principles, but not on personalities. I don't want hatred in this country. I want us to know that when you cut me here, I'm a Luo. The blood which will come out of my vein is red. So is that of the Nandi, so that of the Luya, so that of the Kikuyu, and the Masai, and the Ogiek, and all of them that I have not mentioned. So it is important that we appreciate that Kenya is such an international community, because we have all sorts of people around here.
Everybody.
Yes, and we must live that.
We need a cultural overhaul.
Not necessarily.
Relationships are not documented. It's a relationship between me and you. Right? What is uniting us right now is not a constitution. It's what relationship we have. We are from different tribes. But the thing is, we are ethically coexisting. We don't need a document to tell us now you can live with Lucia. No. We need a cultural overhaul. That's what I feel. That's what I feel.
We need that culture. But you see, before I know what it is that may make me not coexist with you, it is good to note that we are good friends. Otherwise, this is the only area that you need to work on. Yeah, so I don't see what's wrong with documenting it. Relationships can be documented. Like even people, business partners, they are good friends. People normally start off as friends.
But then you said something very important, implementation. We have a lot of documented good reports that are collecting dust in shelves. We should have finished the issue of land, or at least dealt with it considerably. But then the Ndungu report has never been touched. TJRC Commission report has never been touched. You know, there are things in the BBI report that was released initially, recommendations that I would think, if there was the political goodwill, they would actually be put into practice right now. Like leaders putting their skin in the game. You know, if I'm the Minister of Health, then make the hospitals good enough for me as minister to use those facilities. You know, if I'm the Minister of Education, I want my child to be in a public. Those are things that we don't need a referendum. We don't need parliament to implement. There are things that just take goodwill. But here is where I have the problem with this whole building bridges initiative. The recommendations that do not need parliament or a referendum are not being practiced at all. Chapter 6 is still being disregarded. Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya. Actually, the whole Constitution is being treated like a ceasefire document according to our president. And this is where I think BITOK is right. It is an initiative that is turning out to be divisive. Because then, if we are building bridges, what has prevented the president from building a bridge with his deputy? What has prevented the Right Honorable Raila Odinga from building a bridge with Ruto? You know, the exchange of words that they have publicly is very disturbing, and those words are the words that are dividing us. Because I'm now starting to think, if GERALD is supporting Ruto and I am supporting Raila, then we are enemies, when in reality we are not. But you see, we do as we see. We are humans. We are inclined to do as we see, not as is being said. So if we see Baba and Ruto exchanging words publicly, then GERALD and I meet and politics come up and we disagree, then we also start exchanging words the same way. Like, kwenda uko we mtu wa tangatanga, mimi si mama yako. You know, those very harsh words that are not building bridges.
Listen to me, madam. You have spoken well until you are asking me why the president cannot build bridges with his deputy.
This is basically for your opinion.
For my opinion,
yeah.
As I sit here, I am not even aware that there is a bridge broken between the president and his deputy. The other day when we were praying in the State House, I saw them come there together. They were all seated there. We prayed together.
The sitting arrangement was changed.
No. You see, that is the
There's a difference between sitting and actually coexisting.
Yeah.
People can sit, but they cannot coexist.
Okay,
And the DP's body language was very uncomfortable.
Give me now time to you. But thank God I sat at their back. so I didn't have the benefit of studying their body language. And unfortunately, I also concentrated on the prayer, not the going on in the environment. But listen, I think sometimes we escalate non-issues. Listen, madam, I'm glad you are working here, the two of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know who is senior, I don't know who is junior. But in any structured arrangement, there is always somebody who is higher, there's somebody who is next. So, I have been on record, and I want to say it again. My humble submission is, let the deputy be president be just a deputy to his president. I think that should sort out Kenyans. And as for the issue of building the bridges, if they have any which has been broken, this is a good opportunity that they can bridge it because Kenyans are talking about building bridges.
Yeah.
The truth is, madam, let me tell you, you know, you wait to see what is on the picture and then you are even studying body language. You know, when people are praying, they are supposed to be solemn. They are not supposed to be excited about one another. So,
I think Dr. Odhiambo is very sharp. She's a good politician. She's a very good politician. She's a very good politician.
This body language,
She's a very good politician.
In church. What is it all about? You know, in church, I'm not even allowed to kiss my husband in the presence of God because we are praying. You know, okay, that was by the road. But now, the issue of personalities, Kenyans, and especially you people, you know, in the media here, you are very loud mouths. You speak one word here, and it goes viral. I think the media fraternity, let's speak peace. Let's speak reconciliation. Let's force these two gentlemen to behave if we think they are
No, to all of them.
Not
all
just
of them.
two.
All of them.
Oh,
All
no,
of them.
I was talking
all of
about the
them.
president and his deputy.
And his deputy. Okay,
Yes.
okay. We start with this. We start with those ones.
Yes.
So
let
parents.
let Kenyans know, for example, you know, you are talking about the issue of conversations about Tangatanga. Do you know, I have friends in that parliament who are not supporters of Baba.
Yeah.
And
you don't hate each
I
other.
don't remember hating them or even abusing them.
You actually take
And
it
if
together,
you want
right?
to take it from me now, take this seriously. When me and other members of this republic, the women, we started the Embrace movement, a team also arose and called themselves
Inua Mama.
Inua Mama. And then when we listened, they started hurling abuses and insults at us. I remember sitting down with my team in one meeting and I said, we are not going to reply to any of that. We know what we want to tell Kenyans. We are talking about peace. We are talking about harmony. We are talking about development, period.
Why did you not embrace all of them?
No.
Like
we
embrace should
started
have
it
been
for
less
everybody
embrace all
else.
of us.
Listen, we started the embrace. And then they also started that other one. Nobody stopped them from coming to the embrace. In fact, if you look at a wall called Kewopa, where we all belong as women leaders, we invited everyone, every parliamentarian. But now again, you see, you are forgetting, brother, that we are talking about democracy in Kenya. You can invite me to my house, your house, but I have the freedom
You have
to
the freedom to decide whether to come or not.
Yeah, so
To
you
get-
can't ask
So
me
we would
why.
love to see embrace Inua Mama. Ama Inua
Everybody,
embrace,
listen.
you know, a collective agenda.
That is
Especially
welcome.
for women.
And that's why we are talking about a united Kenya. And that's why I'm saying, let us, for example, that body language that we are talking about, maybe some people did not even see it, like me, I didn't, until you said it.
You know, but then Daktari, in my next life, I want to be you, because I love where you live, the space you live in. You mind your business. I think that's a very good feeling. In my next life, I want to live a life like you.
Yeah.
You can be in Jerusalem, but you're not aware that there are lepers on the street. And I love that. That's very good, by the way. It gives a
The
peace of
same
mind.
way our president does not know we are broke and does not understand why we are broke.
No,
Yet
he has
his
never said
cabinet
that.
is stealing. No, he stood up and asked, why are Kenyans broke? Why do Kenyans not have money in their pocket? Yet his government is the most corrupt government we have seen.
I thought, I don't know the context in which that was said, madam.
She
You
was
know, you are
actually
not giving
speaking on
me
corruption.
the whole story.
No, I will find a link and share it with you.
Yeah, please share it with me before you want my comment on that. And that's why I'm saying, listen, I think we were doing well. But now you are bringing issues that you have with the president and me, I'm not aware.
I like the way you're not aware. Deliberately not aware. I like it.
It's not,
You are. I need to give you credit. I want to give you very good credit.
No. Before you give me the credit, don't force your words into me.
No, I'm not forcing anything.
I think I know where we have come from and where we are heading. On the issues of personalities, I even told you that when I was coming into politics, remember my prayer?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
concerning the poor. Okay? And this issue of corruption that you are talking about, we have condemned it over and over again. And this same issue of corruption, there are cases of corruption in this court. Are we there? And some of them are not yet decided. And we had already said earlier that let each wing of the government do their job. So once a case goes to court and it starts taking a vicious cycle to the extent that at some stage we are told there were, you know, in Kenya, even if I killed you here now and Tobias said I saw her kill, then you are told in court there is not enough evidence. Those are the issues that we need to deal with. There are those vicious and ways of our lawyers and judges and everybody just twisting everything the way we are twisting it here. Again, when BITOK wants to give me credit for not being aware, I am aware there is corruption in Kenya. I am aware we have all condemned it. I am aware even that day when we were praying there, that is one of the things that we had to denounce before the president and everybody else. So,
And then in the evening, we go back to the business of
that's
politics.
why I'm
of hatred.
crying about the forgetful themselves, Kenyans.
All right.
And don't imagine that when I'm saying Kenyans, I'm excluding myself. We forget. We forget that we don't like this. And then we have made everything very subjective. That it depends on who does it. Okay? So this subjectivity must go. And that's why I'm saying, let us be transformed to be a society with a value. That when we say this is wrong, it is wrong in Lake Victoria, it is wrong on Mount Kenya, it is wrong here in the city, it is wrong everywhere else.
Yeah.
And then even those leaders, you know, let me tell you something, BITOK. My pet topic as a strategic leadership are three things. Change management, and I'm passionate about transformational change. Then there is this thing called leadership. All the common wananchi, you're asking me something about what can the wananchi do to make sure that the leaders do the right thing. We shun those leaders who do not do what we want. Because in the tripartite of leadership, it is represented nicely in some triangle. You know, triangle has three corners.
Yes.
So one of them, there is the leader, the objective, and then the people who are led. But you see in Kenya, like even now, you will find the wananchi are asking you, which seat do you want now? And I keep telling them, by now, Migorians, it is you rather who should be telling me, Pamela, we have looked at you and the way you have been working, we think we are taking you to this seat. Do you understand why I'm doing civic education?
Yeah.
So it is not a way. So I'm saying in brief, for anything called leadership to exist, there must be the objective, which is very key. And then the people who must have the same objective as the leader. Okay? But most of the time, we want the leaders to even come and tell us what they think they want to do for us. It is not the other way around. When you are getting a job, I don't know whether this company is yours or somebody else's. It is them who set out the agenda, what they wanted you to do here. And the moment you don't do it, I'm telling you, you'll be shown the door.
Yeah.
But in Kenyan leadership, and especially political leadership,
It's different.
it is the reverse.
It comes from the
So
top.
I want you people to plead. I'm pleading with you, the media. Can you educate Kenyans on how to set objectives for their leaders?
All right. On the same note, civic education, everything should come from the Mwananchi, including the constitution. They should be the ones speaking out and saying, we want the changes and this and this. Leadership, this is what we want. Elections, these are the people we want. And that's what we are saying. We are questioning all the processes as well on the constitutional changes, because it's not coming down from the grassroots, it's coming from the top of the trunk.
Listen, BITOK.
Because the question is very, it says we the
Do you
people.
know why today you are talking to me here as a women representative of Migori County? Before I became women representative, I don't know whether your media existed. You didn't.
It did not exist,
You called
unfortunately.
me here because I'm representing the people of Migori County. So this same constitution, or whatever those changes you are talking about, yes, they can come directly from the leaders, but from the people. But those same people can vest that interest in me to represent. So this is also correct in Kenya. So don't forget that. The fact
all the
that
parts are
me
correct.
as a leader, for example, when I'm talking about these initiatives that I have done in Migori County, I thought the people themselves know. And that's why they are supporting me, and that's why they are doing it. Because I thought together with them that
You're doing an amazing job. You're doing an amazing
you understand?
job.
So even on the bigger, at the national realm, let us not forget that Kenyans gave President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy and the team to represent them and represent their interest. Now, when he comes up with an idea and people can resonate with it, I see nothing wrong with
All right,
it.
that's a wait and see. All right, guys, as we close, we are going to close in the next 13 minutes, I think. Bunge la Mwananchi is open, 0779-800-010, 0779-800-010, 0779-800-010. You can call in and contribute to our discussion today as we move to our tail end. Lazima tunangoja simu zenu. I want to ask Mheshimiwa swali about what was announced last week, about what Kenya announced on meetings. And we've been seeing meetings which have been cancelled. We've been seeing others which are going on and all that. And I love that you're a Christian, you're a very strategic leader, and you can speak from a point of leadership. Do you feel the laws that you're getting and the decision that you're making on laws, like, okay, it applies here, it doesn't apply here? What's your general feeling on because the same thing even the media. We are a media house that we run, and at times there are conversations that must be had as a country. There are conversations we must have, whether they're the people like it or not. We must speak, and that is why we actually fought for the freedom of the media. If it was back in the 80s and 90s and all, probably could be closed by now, but we are here. So the thing is, what do you feel on that note? Because it infringes on democracy, it infringes of the right of expressions, it infringes even on issue of equal, because you're seeing juzi kulikuwa na mikutano zilikuwa zinaendelea mahali fulani na kuna wengine ambazo meetings zilikuwa cancelled. Before that, nichukue hii simu jamaa tusikia anasema, hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Abdullah calling from Mandera County.
Abdullah, salamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Niambie.
Now, I have been following the discussion with Madam Mheshimiwa. First of all, I don't think it is the role of any leader to do projects in anywhere. Because when you see the role of a member of parliament, first is to represent, second is to legislate, and third is to oversight. Now, when you represent, you are representing the people under Article 1. Then through that power, you are legislating, and then you are oversighting. Now, when you legislate, the best development is through legislation. If you look at developed countries, you will never see a prime minister in Norway distributing food or building churches. That is not their work. If through her foundation or generosity, the MP or a minister or a governor can do something, but the role they are elected is to make sure that they think for this country, and then the legislations they do helps us for prosperity. Oversight, Parliament has died. I don't know what she's talking about. Parliament is now under the executive because Raila Odinga has joined the government right now. When he did the handshake, Parliament has no opposition and has no majority. Jubilee and ODM are one and the same right now. One is the skeleton of the other. So if you look at the Odhiambo's report right now on the expenditures of the county, if you look at what Senate was supposed to do, if you look at the different mega projects, including parliamentarians who are mentioned in some of these sagas, what we need is a disciplined society, both in individual and administrative discipline, where the country functions through systems, not through individuals. So when Kenyatta came, he thought Kenya was him. He left. Kenya still continues. Moi came. He left. Kenya still is there. Kibaki, Kibaki came, left. Now Uhuru and Raila are going to leave. Then what? We need systems. We don't need individuals. Individuals come and leave. This idea of contributing in churches, this idea of building churches or mosques or schools, there is nowhere a member of parliament is supposed to give handouts to anyone. They are supposed to take the government to task that the environment we have in this country allows businesses to thrive. People have security. People have food on their table. People can get money in their pockets. Jobs are available. Now, when you talk to me about Raila or Madam doing this or Uhuru doing this or Ruto doing that, you are missing the discussion. The discussion is not supposed to go that lane. The environment we need to have on this country is one that is going to bring economical, prosperity. The policies and the laws we pass are ones that will result on people, wealth gap between people, creation of wealth. Those are things we are supposed to talk about. But when you tell me that Madam is doing few things here and there, someone else in Mandela is doing few things and there, that is not their role. I think there is a clear confusion of Kenyan leadership with politics of personality, which is a very bad thing in this country. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Abdullah. Asante sana. Thank you for your contributions. Mbona kuna jamaa pia, jamaa wengine hapo wanne wamepiga simu wamepotea. I could queue your calls. That is quite a contribution from Abdullah.
Before I talk to Abdullah, there's some question.
Yes, there's something I had asked.
Before that.
I think we'll take around 3 or 4 calls and then we'll close. But anyway, keep answering
what
that.
Was your question?
My question was on the announcements by Kenya on the security regulation that I had made on the laws.
Security and the rules.
And there's something that happened back in 2014. There was an amendment, security amendment bill in 2014. It was approved at that time. And the people who approved it at that time actually don't was. And there's something, the question I ordered you to answer was, what is the danger of making laws for people? Because people come and go, the laws will still remain there. Even in the implementation of this law, what do you feel about it?
You are really confusing me now. Are you making law for the people? And you also say the parliament is there to make laws for the people. So
all right, let's take this first. Hello.
That's
Good morning.
interesting.
Allow me to pick this, please. Hello. Good morning.
Morning. Christopher Bosire from Duka.
Yes, Bosire.
Dr. Pamela has tried to be neutral, and I thank her for that. But what I'll ask about the two-third gender. If I remember very well, when this parliamentarian wants to add their salaries, they never miss in parliament, and they make sure that it has passed. Why is it that when issues which are concerned with the constitution, issues which are concerned with the Mwananchi, if we are not supporting it, they will not show up in parliament? And another thing, why are we seeing impunity at this time? Because like the other time when we were passing the formula for the revenue allocation, we saw some members of parliament being blocked from reaching the parliament, which is evident to every Kenyan. Every Kenyan saw what happened. We want to know what's her take on that, because we must be true to the people. We should not be clinging on one side which you are supporting, which I've seen she has done very well, because she was just dodging those questions which she sees that they are divisive. What can she say about that?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You're from Thika.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
I
think I'll give you a chance to answer.
The issue of the security, I think it has always been there. Even me, I've done it. When I want to have a major meeting in my county, I've had always to inform and seek permission and authority from the security department. So I don't see what is really new in Kenyans' announcement. That's why I'm saying sometimes Kenyans, we divert our attention to things that we forget are also part of the constitution and the law that is governing us. So if that is what like this speaker in Kenya think I want to say dodging, I'm only saying what I know is in the Constitution and what is the best practice. It is in order that if I'm going to do a public rally or something like that, I should inform the authorities, and they have always approved. And I can't also speak for the security organs. If they have any reasons to think that there is something that would stop them from allowing that kind of meeting, again, they have the discretion. The law, the same law that we are talking about, gives them that express mandate. So I really think, even me as a leader, when I'm going to do my function in Migori or anywhere else in Kenya, I want to know that I am secure. In fact, most of the time, the police have always sent some of them there to protect us as we do this meeting. So, to me, I don't see anything unique about Kenya's
You are a pastor.
case.
You saw a child being tear gas. Do you think the laws are being applied equally or fairly?
I really don't know, because why would a church be tear gassed in the first place? Those are some of the things BITOK that when we say something is wrong, it is wrong. Because again, for whatever reasons, if a church to host a meeting has been told you cannot host a meeting by those securities, when we talk of applying law, then we should also be willing to obey. We cannot just say that we can only apply the law. For example, there is this rights. The rights is extensively discussed in the Constitution. I have a right, but my right may be infringing on your right at some stage. So do I still go ahead and just do it because it is my right? Okay? So I think when we are talking about these issues, let us be balanced and let's not just push.
And I actually expect you to be balanced, because
yes,
there was a meeting. There was a meeting that was going on in Anarambe. That was going on in. That was being run by Orengo, where they included, I think, 20.1 million. And there was another Arambe that was supposed to open in a Catholic church in Western Kenya. One meeting was approved, the other one was cancelled. Both Arambes in a church.
Listen, BITOK. You and me who is here, we don't have the whole context within which these meetings were approved and this one not approved. For example, if you are told that you give, say, a 2 weeks notice and you give a day's notice, then if they say, no, we are not ready for you, there is this meeting which was already announced and we have approved this, so this one we can approve but at a later date. I mean, we should also give the security officers a chance to be able to manage themselves well. And I'm thinking that we should not be behaving like, what we are now saying is, I don't know, like a child's play, or the child mentality, that just because I gave one of my children banana, the other one is also insisting that he has to get banana. I may give them pineapple instead. The two are still fruits.
So a banana and a lemon are still the same thing. Right.
No, it's not the
because
same
I'll even
thing.
give it a pineapple.
Listen, it's not the same thing.
Because I feel
the idea is I have given my children something. And what you are calling me to discuss here, I think you need, for example, before somebody asking me this question, somebody could have taken the pen to wonder with the relevant people, why did this happen? You are asking me. I'm not the authority who stopped.
Because you are a leader, you can comment.
I am a leader, and I'm commenting that if they have sufficient reasons why they are to stop that other meeting, so be it. If there is none, then we can say it is not just and fair. I think that is where we are.
So where we sit is fair and square.
But you can't want me here to condemn even you who is asking me. You don't have the premises.
Nobody has asked you to condemn. I asked you for your comments, for your opinion. It's fair and square.
Everybody should adhere to that rule of the law. If I go to the authorities and they have sufficient reason to tell me, Pamela, you wanted to use this venue, you wanted to do this function here, and it is not possible to do it now, I should be able to listen to that and we agree on another date. When is it a matter of do or die? you have said, I like a narrative which I've had here. Kenyatta lived, he died, Kenya remained. So there is always a tomorrow. I think we don't want to box everything.
And that's what I'm actually saying about laws, because the laws that cut, because you can remember back in 2017, and let's have a very honest discussion, Mheshimiwa, and I expect you to be as honest as that.
Exactly.
In 2017, we saw NASA supporters were being tear gassed.
Yes.
We saw MPs who were being tear gassed in the streets, tear gas being thrown in the cars.
Yes.
You know, but they say, and I'm trying to be very objective with you, and that's what I've told you.
Yes.
The laws that we are making today has to be for posterity.
Yes.
It's not like we have to make laws for political expediency. Like now, because you've talked about that the laws are not new. Then why did we need a press conference on the same thing from Kenya and announcing the measures? Because the danger is I just want to take you back. I have to take you back. I have to take you back on history.
Listen, you told me you're
on the
born
issue.
again.
Yes, very born again. Yes. On the issue, there's something I've not finished.
Remind them even if they know.
Mheshimiwa,
we have just said that sometimes.
Mheshimiwa, allow me to make my point.
Yes.
2014 security bill was made for political expediency and was approved in 2016, actually. 2016 to 2017, the election period. And the conversation was to tame NASA at that time. That was the conversation. And all the impunity that was done against NASA were supported by the same people who are suffering today. And that's what I was telling you. We might be happy and say, okay, it's fair. A church is approved for a fundraiser in Bondo, you're okay. Another one is cultural in Walter, or a church is tear gassed and you feel they have enough reasons.
The angle you are taking is what I don't like. I said earlier, I am not happy that any Kenyan should suffer in anybody's hand. Most of the church of God.
That makes sense.
Okay? And I'm saying, even in that church of God, if for whatever reason they had been told, don't do this here today, for such reasons, for example, listen, I may be planning a fundraiser, but another gang or somebody somewhere is planning to do something malicious in that very fundraiser. So when the intelligence of the area finds out that in the name or wanting to restore peace and order, they may want to restrain me from taking that opportunity to provide an avenue for that chaos.
How can you preempt violence?
That's why I'm saying we cannot condone any form of violence, BITOK.
All right.
But again, fellow leaders and the Kenyans as a whole, should there be an instruction? For example, even when you are citing the 2017 thing, you know, I want to believe that then, what was happening then, the government, the president and the authorities therein were feeling like this kind of meeting was not right for that time. And of course, you saw what happened, that tear gassing. And we have talked about it every day. We don't expect the police to kill our own citizens. Okay? We don't approve of it. But at the same time, let everything also be treated in the right context. We can't just do other things.
That's my point. If you're cancelling political limits, let's cancel all of them across board. You cannot have another person having a rally.
Listen, BITOK. I'm saying something here which you are adamantly refusing to listen.
I'm not refusing. I'm listening.
And you want us to come to your conclusion, not our conclusion. There is a rule and a law that say I can ask for permission in writing from the authorities well in advance for my function. Then, for example, now that I'm in politics, I'm going to do some rally or maybe some function in, say, Pefa Church in Migori. Then my opponent also decides he's coming to do a fundraising in the next Catholic church, which is thereby. After I have been given the permission to go and do my function. So why should my function be cancelled? It is theirs to be cancelled so that they are told, wait, come later, because this one has already been authorized.
Can I cite a few cases for
I'm
you?
only thinking,
Can I cite a few cases for you?
We don't have to belabor on this a lot. What I'm saying is,
because
let fairness rule in our country, and more so righteousness.
And you have to be honest.
I don't want any Kenyan to die unnecessarily. And Kenyans, we are good at citing, you know, adherence of the law when we think it is somebody else who should adhere to that law. And then the following day, it is us, we are now thinking this law is bad.
And that's what I'm saying, we need to change it.
And that's why I'm saying, you know, we are saying things here and coming back and forth. When we are talking about even those processes of trying to change and amend those sections of the law that are not serving us for posterity, as you are saying. Then again, Kenyans saying that is not necessary. So where are we? Where are we as a people?
It will be interesting to see those laws. Anyway, Lucia, as we to our tail end.
Yeah, so now that we are on the issue of churches, there is a time Jesus went to the temple and found people doing business in the temple, and he scattered them with force and violence, you know, because they were defiling the house of God.
Yes.
Does politics have a place in church? As a church goer, I'm not even allowed to step on the pulpit on a daily basis unless the bishop has called me to the pulpit. Why is it that we are allowing politics on the pulpit?
A good question.
Should politics be in church at all? Now, and I'm really glad because you're a pastor. You're a woman of God.
There is actually someone who has cited here Constitution Article 239, subsection 2. But the primary object of the national security organs and the security system is to promote and guarantee national security in accordance with the principles mentioned in Article 238, section 2. 3. In performing their functions and exercising their powers, the national security organs and every member of the national security organ shall not act in a partisan manner, further any interest of a political party, or cause or prejudice a political interest or political cause that is legitimate under this constitution. All right. Lucia, you're done?
Yeah, I'm done.
The church and politics. And I don't know whether I am understanding you well when we were talking about Harambes in church and then you picked it up from there. I am born again, I said. I'm a pastor and I'm a church goer. Always what my plea has been to all the churches that have gone, I've always told their bishops and pastors, when I come to church, I come to pray, I come to worship God. I want the word that can nourish my spirit.
Yeah.
I think, in my genuine opinion, I would want the pastors and the bishops to keep it as that. Because again, some of this chaos now that we are seeing in churches. My Bible says, and I've preached this to some pastors, if you meet Migori pastors, they will tell you that I've told them this whenever an opportunity presents itself. When it comes to the issue of building and constructing churches, I have my guidance from an old book, Exodus. Moses is in the wilderness with the people of Israel. And this is the instruction that God gave. Tell the Israelites to bring, and it was who are willing to bring this kind of gifts in these amounts. And mark my word, tell the Israelites. Number 2, who are willing. So in our time, when Peter preached the gospel to the Gentiles, who are the Israelites? Now we are Israelites by faith. So if I'm a pastor, my Israelites are these faithfuls that I have in the church. And even those that I have in the church, them that are willing. But you see, for the sake and the love of money, some of our churches have opened their doors to people that they don't even know what they believe in. And they say, bring us the money. Yes, I know all silver and gold belongs to God. But then, let these people be believers. Let them be willing and do it voluntarily. It doesn't have to be spectacular. And know what? That Bible which I was reading from, a time came when the Israelites who were willing brought all these gifts that Moses has commanded. And you know what the people who were in charge did? They said, hey, it is enough. Stop. I've never seen any bishop or any pastor do this today. Even when the church is already been built and accomplished, they will still want to another project and another project. So there are very, very many fancy issues going on in our land. And we have mixed up everything. And even me, when I go to church to give, let me just give in humility and go away. What is this halabaloo and the show that we make about
You
it?
don't have to stand at the pulpit and politic.
I really don't have to.
Yeah.
I have given my money to many churches. And
So-
in the church, let me be proud of the church that I run. It's a church which is full of young people. And in this church, we have taught our congregations to be the ones to give towards whatever it is that we want to do in this church. And I think this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
And to fellow leaders and even me, when I really feel touched in my heart that I'm going to give to God, let it not be another TV show or another road show.
So
I think that is my take. I now talk as a believer, When I'm called to those Harambes, I've always told those pastors, when I'm coming to that church, I don't want to come at your command nor in a hurry. Yeah? I'm coming when I know I'm coming to do a sacrifice to my God. And I must ask God, what would you have me do here?
Yeah.
And when God tells me, give 1,000, of course, when I don't have that 1,000, God will bring it my way if he wants me to give it. That's how I've kept it, and I'm going to continue doing it like that. And I feel it is high time the church also streamlined some of these activities so that we save the church goers, like those issues we saw in Moranga. I cried tears in the bed where I was lying, because I told you I've been a bit unwell. I felt so bad that was to happen in the Church of God.
But then you see, this is where the hypocrisy comes in. When bishops stand on prayer day and tell us, if my people who are called by my name repent, ABCD, and then the following day, you've allowed a politician on your pulpit. So have you really repented? And as bishops, you know, they're our shepherds. They're given to us as shepherds. And now they're leading us astray.
Madam, let me tell you
right.
something as we sit here. I know quite a number of our Catholic churches who do not allow much politics in the pulpit.
My church also does not allow. I go to Mavuno. Church, I go to Mavuno and they don't allow that.
Some of the SDA churches, they would not allow a lot of politics in the church, even in some of the funerals that they conduct. Like even those funerals, my take is when we go to mourn somebody, let's say Pole to the family, pray with them and go away in peace.
All right. You're talking of the day.
Politics, BITOK. Politicians should call rallies and address them.
And do their politics rallies.
I think we are mixing up too many things.
All right.
And it is becoming difficult even to comment about.
Your tackle of the day?
Today the feminists will come for me. I am a believer and I am a Christian. And the word of God in the Bible has designated women as the helpers to men. We are never going to be equal to men. Never ever. We were created to complement these men, and so were they. We are supposed to be complementing each other. It's not a competition. And when the 2/3 gender rule comes in, then the men are supposed to love us as and protect us. And we as women are supposed to submit to authority. And I know this is where the problem is. Submission does not mean slavery. It doesn't. It means you as a woman stepping up to your capacity. And trust me, we have the largest capacity between the two genders. That other gender can never, without us, they can never. We gave them life. Let's start acting like the life givers that we are.
All right. Dr. Ari Mweshimiwa, your tackle of the day.
My tackle of the day. As a born-again Christian, I want to urge all Kenyans who are listening to me, let us honor God and live a righteous life. It is possible at whatever level that you are. In fact, most of the time we are pointing, accusing fingers at politicians as the leaders. But in your kitchen, you are a leader. In the primary school where you're working, you are a leader. In the office where you are a secretary, you are a leader. Let's just do it right. Everybody, even in your shamba, where you go to plant and even weed righteously. That is how deep and far I see an act of righteousness. Because you find somebody has been come to say, I want to dig your shamba, then they bring the soil from the other end and cover the grass here. That is evil. It is unrighteousness. As a leader, I want to call upon my fellow leaders. Let us face the bullet. Let us bite the bullet and serve people of God in dignity, knowing that they are also partakers with us in whatever struggles that we are taking. If the people that we are leading rejected us, the truth is we will not be having this title called a leader. So let us only do that which will promote the well-being of the people that we are leading. Finally, at a national level, let us uphold integrity. In my simplest understanding, integrity simply means walking the talk. Like I'm calling upon all Kenyans, if we are really tired with corruption, we don't have to support or to even sympathize with anybody who is corrupt. Let them face their music and just turn away from their corruption. Let us transform our minds, our attitudes. Some of those thoughts that bind us, we need to get ourselves free from it. And all those cultural boundaries and barriers, this goes directly to the women folk. Woman, you have what it takes to be who God really wanted you to be, a helper, a better person. As my colleague here said, I concur. It is not a competition. It is complementary. I want to be the leader of the day, and I want to serve all the men and the women with all the dignity and the humility and with in honor to God, as unto God, and not as unto man. Thank you.
Thank you so much for making time to join us today. It's been a great discussion. We're happy to have you. We hope to have you again. We hope to have you again and continue doing what you're doing in Migori. Tunataka kusikia gospel ya transformation and empowerment that we want to get to hear from Migori. Tunataka tusikia testimonies again. You never know. They could consider you for the next job. So watu wa Migori, asanteni sana. Thank you so much for joining us. Nimeona the discussions that have been running here. Thank you so much, guys, for being with us for these 2 hours and 25 minutes. We wish you a very blessed day. May everything work in your favor. Na Mungu awalinde. We love you. The tackle ends now. Bye-bye and see you tomorrow.